earlier today, during Jeremy's talk, he shared how the role of giving in his life has returned unexpected dividends. I want to know what place you think giving has in financial independence. More specifically, where does giving fit into your life? And Elizabeth, I talked to an attendee named Elizabeth, and she wants to know what causes specifically you support. Where do you put your money?
Who's this question for? Is that
Well, it's for everybody.
Okay,
but we haven't heard from Paula yet.
Yeah, I can take that. Okay, so I think that what I found is that giving is important in fostering an abundance mindset. And I think a lot of people, particularly in the financial independence community, can sometimes be stuck with like a scarcity mindset or a mindset of excessive frugality, where you cross the line from healthy frugality into being cheap or being neurotic about money. And so the practice of giving is a practice that helps you like embed an abundance mindset, really internalize the idea that you will have plenty of money throughout your life. You will have more than you need, and you already do. And so giving is taking that idea and putting it into action and starting to believe it through the act of giving. And so for that reason, I think that giving is important throughout the journey. You know, like it's not something that should happen after you reach a certain milestone. I think it's something that should be done, I don't like to say the word should, but I believe that there are significant mental health and emotional health benefits to yourself if you incorporate giving throughout the journey. And then, for those of us who love like tax optimization, a donor advised fund, big fan of donor advised funds. I have mine with Schwab Charitable. So you kind of get the nerd fun of getting the tax optimization, being able to manage the investments, and then being able to designate where it goes. And so then specifically to your question, which charities do I support? So this year, there are two, Gotham Critters, which is a very small nonprofit. It's based in New York, and I think it's to the best of my understanding, possibly a one-person nonprofit. They've got a great Instagram, but they rescue cats. So yeah, they rescue cats in New York. So Gotham Critters, I've supported, and then there is a organization, I believe it's called like No One Left Behind. I think that's the name of it. And so shortly after we pulled out of Afghanistan, I gave them the bulk of what I released through my donor advised fund this year.
Yeah. I was going to say, I too believe that giving should be part of your journey from wherever you're at, and not just when you reach a certain point. But I believe that that's why we build wealth. That should be our goal behind building wealth. I was always taught, each one teach one, each one bring one up. If you bubble, you bringing up the next person. So I just feel like that should be our goal, period. Building wealth is about what you can do for other people. It's not self-fulfilling. And I know it's, you're bettering yourself in that process, but if you're wealthy, you can help so many more people than you can if you're struggling. Especially, I'm going to always bring it back to nurses, because I'm just a nurse at core, is that we're so self-sacrificing. We give and we give and we give, and we're depleted and burnt out because we don't make sure that our cup is full first. And that's a reason why I think that a wealthy nurse is a better nurse, because we can give from a place of abundance.
I like that. Yeah.
I'll pivot a little bit beyond just giving financially, because culturally, Black people are the most philanthropic people on the earth because we give through our church. And this is statistically proven, but we tithe more than any other culture. So we're already used to giving financially. But what FIRE opens up for us is the ability to contribute our gifts and give in other ways that doesn't affect our livelihood. So when you talk about some of the social changes we want to see, some of the causes we want to support, some of the ways that we want to contribute at work, a lot of times we hold back on doing that because there's a social consequence, and that's a very accurate read of the world right now. That's not just me being sensitive. Like, that's a very real thing. And so when you are financially independent, when you can afford to walk away from situations, when you're not worried about the money and you can start to give freely, it opens up how quickly we can make progress. And like we heard earlier, how quickly we can really just kind of hone our power and start to change things.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you bring up giving in other ways, because personally, I hate donating to organized charities. And it's not because I'm a cheap bastard, but it's just because
It goes to overhead.
Yeah, it goes to, I feel like there's waste involved. So I in the past, I've done some anonymous donations to friends who I know are struggling. But more and more, I find that what I do is I donate my time and my energy.
Yeah.
I'm here doing this on my dime because I believe in this and I believe in Diana. That's an example of me doing that. And so,
Exactly.
it's kind of weird because it's a rich person giving back to rich people, so it's weird.
But it doesn't have to be, because a lot of times we've been trained, we've been conditioned to exchange financial capital for knowledge, for social capital, for access. But when you can give it freely, it frees other people up like a lot more.
Yeah.
Like the scale in that is greater, because you guys can take everything that you learned today and share it to one other person, and now we've doubled the impact of Diana's vision. And I think that's equally as important as financial.
And talking about using your skills, often, and we just had an expert on the show in this area, a guy named Chris Field, about giving, and he said that you can put $100 into some organization and then they try to deploy it somewhere. What's much more helpful, and this is what he does, he's a social media expert, he's phenomenal at it. He uses his time, and because he's so much better at social than the people they already have, there's a multiplier. The $100 he would have given them would have been wasted versus giving his time. So for people that don't think they can afford to give money right now, giving your time is a fantastic thing for you and for the organization.
Yeah, I think of my girlfriend who's not financially independent in any way, but when we lived in Portland, she spent 3 hours a week volunteering, giving her time at an animal rescue, and I really admired that.
And that feeling, too, that you get from it, that having a service mentality is so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.